putting on that shirt. I was playing way too cool because I was trying to hide my hurt. But I'm still solid, dog.
What up? What up? What up, y'all? How's everything been? Did y'all miss us? I missed y'all. I can't speak for my co-host, Mr. Cortez, King C's himself. Hello, sir. How are you?
Chilling. Just
Glad to
woke
hear.
up from a glorious nap.
From a glorious nap? I like it.
Yeah.
I like it. Naps are healthy and necessary. I feel like we should have siestas like they do in Europe. I really do. Like if we're gonna work all day, I think we should have siestas. Just my personal opinion.
Shit hit different, yo.
It do, like your whole day reset after a good nap. I mean, you ever fall asleep in the car, like when somebody else is driving, and you fall asleep, and you just have like the greatest like time when you get to wherever you're going.
That sun beaming on your face, feeling good.
Yeah, like life just different when when you take naps regularly.
Unmatched.
Yeah,
You just have like
just
the
different.
greatest like time.
But what's been up, man? Like, have you finished moving in yet? One.
Yep. Coming to you live from the man cave / office.
I like it.
Small flex.
I like it. What's up, everybody in the chat? I see y'all. I don't want to, not acknowledge you guys. So have you been? I know you've been moving and stuff, and I asked you this offline, but I'm gonna ask you this now, so that nobody else in the chat will give you any spoilers while we're talking about it. But have you been watching Lovecraft?
Yeah, show of the year.
Absolutely, show of the year. Better be show of the year. Journey better win like every major award possible. For a female lead, like just everything, in my opinion.
Yeah, show of the year, hands down. I think that it introduces white America to Black culture in a non-aggressive fashion.
See, but what I actually I disagree, and I don't disagree that it's not aggressive. Where I disagree at is that when you think about the show, when you think about all the stuff that's on the show, like you got the guard dog joint things, you got you got magic, you got spells and all sorts of shit like that. You got time travel and everything, right? And still, the evilest thing on the show is still white people. Like, have you want to work that out?
But no. See, that's where your mind went with it. I'm looking at it more of along the lines of they're letting white people know that we are all powerful. That little white girl in there with all that magic and shit, she really ain't shit. Homeboy is the key. A Black man is the key.
Yeah,
and
but
who he got with him? A strong Black woman with him throughout his whole situation. Then you gotta turn around and you gotta look at the situation where they threw the Emmett Till thing in there, so you get a little bit of history, fun fact that. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of little sub hits.
See, but it's more than I was about to say it's more than just the Emmett Till situation that was that was there, because that's true.
They had Shorty
that was
who rode her motorcycle across country.
Yep, they had that reference. They also had the reference of so the house that she's in, that's a real house. So that it was a really a white doctor killing black people and like putting their bodies and sewing their bodies together.
Right.
The big baseball playing boy with the baby head, like that type of shit.
That was crazy.
Yeah, like that's real shit.
But
so
that's just letting white America know, you know what I'm saying, on a submission that we all powerful, and that y'all wouldn't have all the things that y'all have without Black people and Black culture. That's how I view the show. It's like, yeah, white shorty, she can do all the stuff that she could do and all that, but at the end of the day, who she still needs? She's still relying on the Black man. King shit, yeah. That's king shit.
That's definitely an absolute right there. I definitely fuck with the show though. I'm mad that you haven't caught up. I wanted to talk about it really, really badly, but it's cool. We'll figure something out. We'll talk about it. because next season I think I want to install like a TV show segment or something. We'll see. We'll figure it out.
Mm.
Yeah, like whereas though, like because we tried to do it early in the season. I think this season, matter of fact, you know what I mean, since this is the season finale, real quick, I just want to, you know what I mean, since we here, um, this season we tried to implement a few different things early on, and then COVID happened, and we kind of like got shook up a little bit. We stopped a few different things. Like we were doing like top 10 lists that ever for the first few shows and all sorts of shit, like favorite movies. Um, really allowing for the viewers to kind of really get to know the host, right? And then, COVID happened, and then, this generation decided that they weren't going to sit down and allow for white America to continue lynching Black America. Um, and we had to talk about that, right? Like we couldn't not talk about that. We had to really take a pause and take a moment and really like investigate that whole situation. And I'm glad that we did. It kind of brought out something different for all of us. um for me personally, like what I got from just that overall overarching theme this whole summer was that this generation, even though I personally thought that they lack follow through, I've been proven wrong. It's one thing I'll say. I'll definitely say they don't lack follow through. They won't allow for uh, people to take over the movement. Shout out to Bill Burr. Did you see that? Yo,
Yep.
shout out to Bill Burr.
He's part of the 20% of white people that I trust.
I don't even know if it's 20, but he's a part of that percentage, whatever that number is. Shout out to him. If y'all know what I'm talking about, look up last week's Saturday Night Live. My man Bill Burr put on a show for the ages. Twitter got at him. Well, white Twitter got at him, and black Twitter continued to lift him up. So yeah,
The
but
show on Netflix is hands down one of the funniest things I've ever seen.
yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
definitely.
if it's for family, if you haven't seen it, do yourself a favor, sit down. It's probably some of the funniest situations that you will ever see in an adult cartoon.
Yeah, one day I'm gonna sit and watch the whole all of the seasons. I only got through season one, and that was like when it first came on. After that, I kind of like fell off. It was just too much on TV in general. Like I just didn't have the time. But yeah, so what overall, like just this season, as far as the show is concerned, as far as the world is concerned, like what do you think you've learned overall?
Hmm.
Or did you have anything
Mm.
that might have changed your view? Like when we started this whole venture, the day before Valentine's Day of 2020, like what changed? What may have changed?
I've always seen things for what they are. I think that the world around me is attempting to change, but I've always been straightforward as far as my views on white America, as far as what I've gone through and endured in corporate America, which is a subdivision of white America, which is one of the most powerful subdivisions of white America. So I don't think that it hasn't really so much as been a learning thing. It's just been a wait and see and a watch to the reaction. Now, I've seen so much, and I pretty much know how this thing is going to go election wise. I know how this thing. We kind of had our ups and downs with the Breonna Taylor thing. We're still waiting on the George Floyd situation to hit the court dockets, um, and so on and so forth. So it's not really so much as a learning thing, more along the lines of like we need to just wait to see what's going to happen, and if we need to continue to you know riot, for better lack of words, because I don't because marching peacefully is not working at this point. So
That changed.
well, I did that. I did that. I marched. I protested. I did all that stuff, and I still feel like we do it the right way, and it still doesn't serve us. So we need I wouldn't say radical change, but we need a more aggressive stance on the situations, and we need to start holding these people accountable. So, you know, it's just a wait and see. Like what's going to be the next thing? Because if George Floyd's case doesn't go the way it needs to go, then I I foresee Minneapolis burning down. I think everything will get torched except Prince's house, the club where Prince made Purple Rain, and the house where Prince made Purple Rain. And they'll probably leave Kirby Puckett's house alone too. And yeah, like outside that, I think those things are safe. But and then we still got the feds doing the Breonna Taylor thing, seeing that they're gonna get those guys.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been to Louisville. It's not a major big city, but we'll see what happens. If it was if it was my call, they'd probably run up in all the KFCs and Papa John's and burn them shits down too. So, we'll see what happens though. You know, I just it's just a wait and see. So I ain't learned nothing. It's just let's just wait and see.
Eh, I mean, white America's been white America for a minute now. Um, I will say that I'm glad that there's some people that never felt lost their fervor as far as this whole situation is concerned. Somebody just said that they heard that George Floyd's killer was released on bail, $1 million bond, meaning that he had to have been charged with something. I'm not sure. I haven't had the energy to kind of pay attention to that. I've been more paying attention to what's going on in our political world. Have you heard anything about Ice Cube's contract with Black America?
I think what Ice Cube is doing is along the same lines of what brother Kanye is trying to do, except for the difference is Kanye is so socially awkward that when he makes these kind of moves and he's done these kind of things, it comes off very assholish and ignorant. But the base, I speak Kanye language quite fluently. So the base of what he's trying to do is is basically the same thing that Ice Cube is trying to do. He's trying to figure out a way to not be the overly aggressive and angry black guy. He can get close to the white people he needs to get close to, and then have a conversation in order to inflict change. Because that's all. I mean, that's all Ye did. Ye went up in the White House. MAGA had it out, got Kim
Um,
Kardashian next to Trump, and then freed some black folk. And I thought that was dope. And now I think that Cube is trying to follow that. Like, listen, I ain't gonna come to y'all with the fuck the police. I ain't gonna tell y'all suck my dick. I'm gonna be cordial, and I would like to have a conversation. Now that whole calling it the platinum plan and all that other bullshit, that remains to be desired. But
yeah. All right. So today or yesterday, Cube went on CNN to kind of clarify that a little bit. He's not on board with the platinum plan. His plan is the contract with Black America, which
exactly.
is going after companies and and banks like Littman Brothers and things like that, to and basically force their hand and make them pay us because they insured, as a company, they insured, the cargo coming from Africa to the
Mm-hmm.
U.S. So make them pay for that, and that's how we start the process of building wealth in Black America and within Black America. He was on Chris Cuomo's show, and he said, and this was it for me. He said he's not going in there to talk about, he's already had a conversation with Trump and them, and he's had a conversation with Biden's camp, and he's going to go with whoever's in power. He doesn't really care which camp it is. His issue is that he's not going in there talking about colored people. He's not going in there talking about minorities. He's talking about black people who are descendants of slaves. Period. He doesn't want to have a conversation about anything else. He wants to build up and lessen the wealth gap between us and them. basically.
Right.
And to me, whether Kanye could articulate that or not, um, you know, remains to be seen. And where I have an issue with Kanye more than anything is some of his viewpoints in general. The idea that slavery was a choice, he said that. That's not somebody else. Somebody else didn't say that. They didn't put words in
I
his
mean,
mouth.
yeah, he said it, but do you understand the base of what the statement means? The
Yeah. So
statement is
what?
horrendous.
So here's the thing.
I'm not defending the
So here's
statement,
the
but
thing.
the
No,
idea.
the idea. I get it. So the idea would be, here's the thing. You got a choice in that. So we could be like, and this is where he cleared it up for me, where you could be like, Egypt when they rose up against Gaddafi, right? And burnt shit down until they were, you know, for lack of a better word, free. Uh the other side is that we've been indoctrinated with their religion, which is, peaceful protest and all of that. And we have assimilated enough within this American culture, that we're separate now. So now there's a few winners out there that are black, and those people, it's enough of them to keep the ones that aren't, to keep the losers or the people at the bottom of the wealth gap from ever really looking at them, or vice versa, and saying we can unite for the betterment of everybody, right? Because the people that have are going to look and say, I'm not giving up what I have to help them because my family's fine. The people I'm connected to are.
So slavery was a choice, basically, to me, and this is where it correlates with Q. So if it's 100 of us and we on a slave plantation, and then you got Massa, you got his fat ugly wife, you got like maybe
You got an enforcer, you got an
4 of his
enforcer,
kids,
a
so that's
tracker.
5. Then you maybe have a camp of maybe all
You
of
got
like 10.
you got guns. You got guns.
10 to
You
15.
got.
You got 10 to
But
15
listen,
people.
wait. Before you saying all that, right? You got,
You got
even though
10
you
to
got
15
100,
people though.
even though you got 100, you got 100 slaves. You got 100 slaves who speak 15 to 20 different languages of each, which then translates to however many dialects from that. So those 15 people weren't stupid enough to say, all right, cool, I'm gonna take all of the people from the Tutsi tribe and put them on one plantation. That would be dumb, because that's what
We
happened.
talking
That's what
about
happened in Cuba.
after all that shit, after they've
And
introduced
after that, it was too late. After that, it was too late. You basically, that would be the equivalent of saying, cool, the cows could raise up against the farmers. No, that's not a thing. The cows have been domesticated. The cows are now cows. The bulls don't charge at humans unless they're being antagonized. Like, it's not a thing. That's to say that they kept their fervor, and they kept their passion for life. They were born into slavery. Could you possibly imagine having a passion for life and you were born into slavery?
Right. So yeah, and still the statement is terrible, but the logic behind it, if you have 100 people versus 15 people, the
Yeah,
thing is you have
but
to
the
somebody's
ability
got to
to
make a
unite.
sacrifice. And it's the same thing that's going on today. Somebody's got to make a sacrifice, and we've been put on display for murder porn
Absolutely.
for a long time now. So when are some of these, like I saw a brother talking about getting all together, these gang members and these people, instead of them killing us and us killing us, if y'all have that kind of energy, take that shit over there. Like if you have nothing to lose, take it the fuck over there. You know what I'm saying? So that's my thought process. That's how I can deal with what he said. Now back to the topic at hand with Cuban, his contract for Black America. Now he's calling for the change of, you know, getting us back situated financially, and that's going to help out a lot. Now, you and your point saying that we have a bunch of rich people who are at the top, like the Jay-Z's and the Beyoncé's.
No, I'm not saying the J's and the B's. I'm saying more like it wouldn't be the top. It would be the mid tier.
What's mid tier to you then? Because I don't think the middle America, like if you want to be mid, I consider myself mid tier then. So
all right. So so people who are in your ilk, if you consider yourself mid tier, right? But you consider yourself mid tier, and you've already said that you still are you would make the sacrifice for the man below you. A lot of the mid tiers are Kanye. They wouldn't make that sacrifice for the people below them, and that's where the problem lies. Because if
asking too much of the mid tier, I've stood so strong on this point. You have Jay-Z, $500 million. You have LeBron, damn near close to $500 million. You have Puff, like close to $500 million. You have just these three dudes. If they said, if LeBron came and stepped to the door, I got $100 million for this. You got put up your $100 million. We got $300 million. What can we buy that can sustain Black people? Like as far as land, where you get a plot of land, then you go from getting a plot of land, you put a hospital, a bank, a school in that plot of land, right? Then you start to build up your community. Now, once you build up your community and you have the financial resources to play the game, then we're talking different kind of ownership. We're talking different kind of opportunities, this and the third. Don't look to a motherfucker who's only making $150,000 a year or underneath that to try to sacrifice, because that could be gone any second now. LeBron money ain't going nowhere. Hove money ain't going nowhere. Diddy money ain't going nowhere. These are the kind of brothers that I'm talking about that need to step up and do what the fuck they need to do. Point blank, period. Now, that's what Cube is trying. Cube is trying to take the brother who is in the middle class and in the lower class and give them enough resources that now they can feel comfortable enough with maybe trying to help out. So, like, if I become a manager in my company, then I would feel more comfortable knowing that I have the job security, that if I do hire an all Black IT team underneath me, my manager or my CFO or CEO won't say shit to me. That's where we're going with this situation.
The other side of that would be
being financially viable. That's a whole different, now we need to really get into the nitty gritty, because if I'm only making $60,000 a year, and that's considered, middle class America is about 60 G's. It's on the low end. It's fucked up. How can I sacrifice? A motherfucker like LeBron needs to sacrifice.
When I say sacrifice, I don't mean monetarily.
Because you want to give up your life, like you want to die for the cause.
Because we're talking about unification. If we're talking about unification, then we got to be talking about war. We can't be talking about anything else. We're talking about unification, because if we're talking about bringing our dollars together and doing something that way,
what's more powerful than the dollar? Tell me what's more powerful than socking it to the white dude's pocket. What's more powerful than that? Fucking his wife he don't give a fuck about that.
No, it wouldn't be that for me.
None of that shit. None of that shit.
Nah, the most. I mean, he wants to live to spend said dollar. So, yeah, I'm still going to take his life.
Yo, prime example, Proud Boys, a bunch of middle class to maybe rich white Americans. They don't give a fuck about dying, but I guarantee you, if you took their money,
that's the problem.
Money is a different situation.
The Proud Boys are not middle class America. They are not. I can guarantee you, if it's 10 of them, if it's 10 Proud Boys in that group, right? I can guarantee you 8 of them are poor or below the poverty line. Period. I can guarantee you that.
The homie that's doing his show, he looked pretty well off to me.
Yeah, the leader, the guy they're gonna show, Trump, they're gonna show that guy, but they're not gonna.
I ain't talking about that nigga. I'm talking about the dude who actually is out here with the shit.
And he sound like he got some. He sound like he got some sense. He's been educated, all that shit, right? Yeah, but his followers are not. That's the equivalence of saying that you've seen this. We've seen this play out in history where the smart guy or the guy with a little bit of leeway or a little bit of charisma leads the masses who are not as educated. That's why why do you think they didn't let slaves learn how to read? They fucked up white people for teaching niggas how to read. Think about that.
Man, look.
Anytime you give.
So you talking bloodshed versus the money.
How do you listen? This is my thing, and this is it for me.
The money is forever.
The money is not forever.
They can kill a million white people, but their money keep going down. Their racist money keep trickling down to more racist people. It's gonna be the same shit. You gotta cut the fucking bread. We as black people gotta start making money. We gotta be more educated, and we have to put ourselves in position of power so the way we don't rely on white folks, bro. Killing them ain't gonna do shit. It's just gonna make the okay. You kill a nigga. Say you kill a nigga that's built like Trump, that allegedly has all this money. Is that a third? What you think? His affairs ain't in order? Where you think his money gonna go?
No, it's not about the. See, that's where the problem lies. If we're looking to assimilate and we're looking to basically be accepted, because that's what that is. That to me would be being accepted. We go in and we say, all right, cool. We're gonna be like. And we're gonna play the game that you set up, and we're gonna play along in it. We're gonna get our money up.
Nah,
we're gonna
give me my shit.
Things, and we're gonna do all of those things.
Shit. No, I don't want to play no fucking game. Give me my fucking money.
All right, cool.
We built this motherfucker. Give me my money. So guess what? If every descendant of slaves, which is millions of black people, they cut us. They found it in they mysteriously found it in a budget, like some Lucky Charms cereal box prize.
Mm-hmm.
And they said, yo, Bass, here's $100,000 just to start. Just to start. And then you hit me up, you say, yo, nigga, I just got 100 G's from the government. And I'll be like, yo, I got like 120. And then say your cousin, he might have got 200,000, you know what I'm saying? Because he might be on a different side of the family. And then, you know, another brother that gets maybe like 90,000. Then guess what? We can sit down at the table as a conglomerate and buy some shit and become our own business with the money that niggas owe us.
So you know how you more than dabble in the stock market, right?
Correct.
All right. So you know how valuation works, right? And the value of something. The less of it, the more it's worth if it's something that, you know, everybody kind of wants. If they give every black American who's a descendant of slaves $100,000 in one lump sum, the value of the dollar will drop so quickly that we'd be in a Great Depression worldwide within 48 hours of that being done.
They expecting us to spend the money on nigga shit. They're not expecting us to go and invest or go and do stuff like getting.
If we can't unite with something that we have freely, meaning our lives, then what makes you think that the mentality of Black America today, which is crab in a barrel until I'm proven different, that even if you have and I have, there's still going to be some dissension within the ranks, and that's where the problem lies. The problem doesn't lie in whether or not we have. If you give a nigga who ain't never had nothing something, they're going to act like they got something for about 2 minutes. After that, it's going to be gone. The idea makes sense, but the mentality isn't there for that.
Okay.
I get it. Like, I don't even want to disagree with you, because it's like, yo, like on some real shit. Yeah. If you take 5 brothers and say, yo, here go $100,000 each, and they get together with their 500,000 and they build something from that, great. But the idea that you're going to give 13% of the United States that same 100,000, they basically at the same level that they were yesterday before they got the money. The mentality has to change. And until that happens, we're still going to be in the same place.
Yeah, and still, like I said, there's a difference between giving us reparations and giving us a way to build our own and have our own shit. I've been preaching this shit since day one. I say, yo, the only thing that's gonna beat this system is education and keeping our money. If they never gave us a fucking another dollar, and we were able to take our money and recycle it within our own community.
I agree.
And then also, yeah, and then it's like, I feel like temporary segregation would work. We need to have our own land, our own shit, and get the fuck away from white people.
Shit, you ain't catching up yet, bro. I need you to go watch Lovecraft, and then we can have this discussion again. But until then, no, because I got too many times that we tried to do that whole temporary segregation in order to come back thing.
And you said the same thing. Oh, they burnt the shit down and da. Well, if we were to segregate, say, and have that, and then have the proper utilities.
Oh, so military, right?
Not even a full-fledged military. Just
security of some sort.
Yeah, obviously, yes.
Big guns, right?
Yes.
They would have to have big guns, right?
Correct.
So in my opinion, you're saying start with the money and then build the security forces. I'm saying build up the mentality so that everybody is their own security force. I don't have to worry about having a security force if I know that everybody already is on the same shit. Or everybody on the same time. If I'm walking down the street and I see somebody on the ground and a cop has his knee in their throat, I'm gonna fire. We're not asking questions. See, that's the difference. It's a mentality thing, and we got to change that first.
We got to take out that whole equation. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, but
our own community.
But that idea can't work.
That idea. When you go to Chinatown, what do you see? When you go to Chinatown, what do you see?
When I go where?
Chinatown.
Chinese people. But you still see white cops. You know what's funny? The Philadelphia Police Department actually purposefully does not put a lot of Chinese people in Chinatown. They put Mandarin speaking people in Chinatown. Mandarin is a learnable language. It's not the same. It's not. So because it's still within the United States government's land. So unless we're given land and we can set it up as a reservation.
I just said that. If three niggas came together and bought the land and put our own shit and we govern ourselves.
The problem would be we would have to detach ourselves from the government first. We would, all right, cool, buy the land and then say, cool, denounce the government. And what do you think they're going to do next? Cool, napalm or nuke. Like that'll be their choices.
That's such an extreme. That's just such an extreme idea. And then that leads. I think you just want to fucking.
You think that?
You do. I want you to go out. I want you to run down to City Hall with as many guns as you can and just shoot it the fuck out there, nigga.
That's not it.
Just go do it.
I'm saying have it
all. Get your affairs in order. Run down to City Hall and start busting at white people. Because obviously there's no optimal solution to anything that I'm saying at this point.
Bro, they've shown you that for 400 years. When are you going to learn that they've showed you that for 400 years? I get that you got hope that we can all live together, kumbaya. I get it. I really do. And the worst part is that if we would have polled the two of us, right, 5 years ago, if we'd have had a conversation between the two of us, not even a conversation, somebody else would have asked us and said, "Hey, how do you feel about white people?" 5 years ago, right? I would have said, "Man, they're cool. We probably could, we can work this out." I would have said that. I know I would have said that. You, on the other hand, 5 years ago would not have said that. Right now, I don't know where that is. Like, I don't even know where you got the idea that that's possible. Literally,
I don't need to live in a situation where I need white America. The point is,
but you do though.
The black dollar
right now, as it stands right now, today, you would not be able to eat without white America.
That's the problem.
So
if we come together and bring our money together, get our own shit but without white America, we can sustain a community and we can have our own rights, our own governing situation with our own.
But not on U.S. land. Like that is where the problem lies. Not on U.S. land. Because anytime that we do that, they're going to look at it as a show of force. You can't tell me that they wouldn't. Everything we do, they look at it as a show of force.
Fuck it. Hey, yo, you and your kids, get on a plane and go the fuck out of here then. Get the fuck out of here then.
I'm trying my best. We've tried. We've protested peacefully, and
I gotta. When my tax money come in, I'll help you with 2 of the plane tickets to get you and your kids up out of here. I got you on 2 of them. Get the fuck out.
No, this is recorded.
My people built this motherfucker, and I ain't going the fuck nowhere.
And I feel you, but
fuck you.
But that mentality,
and I'm staying in this bitch because we built this motherfucker.
You're willing to fight for it. That's all I'm saying. That mentality means you're willing to fight for it. Because other than that, I've said this. I said this since we've been having this conversation. We are not. They are not. When I ask people, I said it to y'all. I said it to you, Andre. I was like, yo, like, what do y'all want? What do y'all want? What do you want from white America? And everybody pretty much says around the same thing. Freedom and things of that sort, right? And I'm like, all right, cool. Are you willing to die for that? Because they're not going to give it to you. So if you're not willing to fight for that, then what the fuck? They could just hold it out until whenever. They could keep giving you false promises like they've done for the last 100 years, because we've been free for at least 100, 1880 to now.
We've been saying that
we've been free for 100.
50.
All right, cool. How? When they still lynching us and getting away with it? Are you free when you feel like you can't even get pulled over by a cop?
It's 2 different things. You're talking about the justice system. I'm talking about financial freedom in order to build up our communities and keep our money within. Yo, you have black people who know how to.
When they've been redlining for that same 50. They've been redlining us for the same 50. So let's say we've been free for 10, because in the last 10 years, they kind of been slowing down on the redlining. We agree with that? I don't even agree with that as a whole country thing. I just agree with that in major black cities outside of Milwaukee, because Milwaukee's been redlined to the point that they don't got no more red lines. Literally, like there's no more ink in the pen. Like, and see, this is the thing, like those things have happened, and until they first off, until they acknowledge that they did it, that's first, right? They gotta at least acknowledge that. White America come to the table and say, yo, look, we know we did some heinous, fucked up shit. That's where it got to start, right? Bill Burr said it when he was talking about the white women. He was like, yo, y'all got to realize, like, y'all sat next to us and fucked us when we came home from genocides. So we don't want to, like, there's nothing to talk about. Like, sit here next to me and get your talking to. Like, that's it. So that got to be first, right? At first, it got to be an admittance of something wrong. Because as it stands right now, they say, well, y'all been free for X amount of time. Cool, but were we really? When today, right now, right? Today, if my son today gets a drug charge, he can't get financial aid for college. Therefore, he probably wouldn't be able to go to college. Therefore, continuing the cycle of less educated, less financially stable because of one bad decision in his life. That's systematic. That is systematic slavery. That is systematic oppression. That is systematic racism. Period. Because who's most likely to get charged and have to actually go to court and actually, get that conviction for a half an ounce of weed? Philadelphia as a county has had, since in my lifetime, 4 black mayors in the last 40 years. It took a white mayor to say, yo, let's go ahead and take that off as a thing. It took for us to have a white mayor and a white DA for us to say, yo, if somebody's walking around with less than a gram of weed, they probably smoking it themselves. Are we really about to lock them up for 4 or 5 years for that? Is that really necessary? Because see, people look at it like, all right, cool. He got arrested for that measly drug charge, but that's not it. It's the fact that he can't get financial aid for college, so he can't even change his life if he wanted to. Now he's stuck because there's no other way that he can make that type of money without a degree.
Yep. So things that have changed since Black Wall Street, because Eva spoke about Black Wall Street. Black people, we have the, if you're not a convicted felon, you have the ability to have home protection, which means guns and such.
Mm,
Another thing that has changed since the burning down of Black Wall Street, Black people were able to acquire more land if we have the financial means to do what we need to do, as long as we pay said taxes on said land.
mm.
Um, Another thing that's changed since that, technology is a beautiful thing. We have computers, we have cameras, we have,
Cameras don't
you
matter.
know, all types of stuff of that nature. Um, we can build a structure that ultimately can keep people in or keep people out. Obviously, we've learned that through the jail system. Um, let's see what else that can be acquired that we could use. We have a lot more
That sounds like a
educated
fort
Black
to me.
doctors, Black nurses. We have Black bankers. We have a lot of these resources that are more prevalent than it was back then. So you're we started out with Ice Cube, which is the financial talk, which is the talk that I understand the most. Money changes everything.
It does,
Money will get you
but
money will get you a better education. Money will
exactly.
get you
But the
money will get you
problem
better
is
health care.
right now today, they haven't said that they're going to do anything of any of those things, right? As far as like giving us what we're owed. So all
I'm
right, cool.
I'm not
We
I'm not
can't.
I'm not gonna wish in one hand and shit in the other
All
on
right.
this topic.
So then
I'm saying to you that if we want a viable change, that is a good way to go about it. With Kanye, him getting close to these white folks and getting a couple of people freed just on the humble is a good way of going about it. Kanye helped out some brothers who was locked up on behind some bullshit. Cube is talking about giving us some financial freedom. These are things that are very, very intricate in getting us somewhat where we need to be. Now, it's not going to happen in our generation. We will probably die before it comes full circle and the chickens come home to roost and all that other shit. But to know that when I decide to have my kids, that they have the potential to be better off than what I was during this heinous time, because I'm better off than what my parents were.
hmm?
So it's like it's a slow crawl, but now we're trying to speed it up a little bit, and I understand it. So what I'm saying to you is, if we were able to start our own community and we can educate ourselves, just like if you go to a
We can educate
nightclub and they
ourselves.
have
We
they,
can educate
and they
ourselves
have
without setting
you go to a nightclub, you go
community.
to a nightclub, right? And they have a bouncer at the door. You can't get in with Chucks, nigga. Get the fuck out of here. If we can start to get our people in a sanctified community where you have doctors, lawyers, leaders, progressive people, non-violent offenders, and stuff like that, in order to start to expand this horizon of our knowledge base, our financial worth, keeping our money within our community and stuff like that, that might spark an interest in somebody who might be a gangbanger or somebody who's fucked up and say, you know what, I want to change my life. I want to live like that. I don't want to sell dope. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that. You never know what can actually happen until we actually put in a plan and actually try to accommodate the situation. Now, if it does not come to fruition and it gets burnt down again or something crazy like that happens again, then guess what? That is a legitimate cause for another civil war. Now, you have to make a valiant attempt to do what's right by Black people before we just escalate to some bullshit. Because escalating it right now ain't going to get us the fucking money that controls this whole thing. Money controls this whole thing. So everything that you're talking about, that's cool. Are you willing to die for this shit? Okay, yeah. So that's another major question. We have a lot of people who are not willing to die for it, but we have a lot of people who are. So we have to look at the cost of casualties. We have people who haven't even made that decision getting killed. I'm pretty sure George Floyd would want a decision to be made before he was fucked up and killed. I'm pretty sure Breonna Taylor didn't want to die in her hallway. I'm pretty sure a lot of these other people, Emmett Till, I'm pretty sure all these people wanted to have a choice in the matter. So let's line up the people who really, for better lack of words, are so down with the cause that they're willing to die for that shit. Let that be our community's security. Oh, what an idea! Because now you have bona fide shooters at the gates, since you want to be Mr. Militant Michael Evans over here. And then now we can have people who are so committed to the cause that they will protect the people who might not be willing to die, but who bring other substantial qualities and attributes to the Black community. Just an idea, just something wild off the top of my head, just logically speaking here. So in order to get these things, guess what has to happen? You gotta have money. Guess who has the money? The fucking white people. Guess who needs the money? Fucking Black people. Just saying, like, everything that you said comes with a cause and an effect. If we can at least lay down some groundwork and try some shit in this modern era, because if like we've been scorned before, yeah, all right, cool. But let's try it in this modern era where we have the ability to segregate out of the bullshit. That would be a whole totally different outcome. Maybe you just never know. Just it's an idea.
I agree that how can I say this? If they give us, like, we're gonna come with our hand out. If they give us the money, for whatever reason that they decide to give it to us, without us,
they owe us the money first off. But
listen, I burnt the plug before, so I don't. Shit happens sometimes. Like, it is what it is. Just saying. They've been burnt. They burnt us for 400 years. Like, you think you're gonna get that? Like, at this point, their credit score is like 0, bro. Like, how do we even like start that conversation? Like, I mean, I get we just kind of started, right? The idea would be just to start the conversation, just start talking about it and go from there, right? They've owed us since we've been free. So since 1881, they have owed us. They have not attempted to try to set up a plan to pay us back. Every time that we have a discussion about paying us back, it's normally a Black person that starts that conversation. Meaning that we go and we say, yo, bro, where my money? If they're not willing to come to us and say, yo, we recognize that we owe y'all, how can we set up a payment plan? Like, what can we do to set up a payment plan?
What old ass company benefited the most from slavery? Like
Cube said, Lehman Brothers. Lipman Brothers, the bank that actually insured the cargo going across the Middle Passage. And
who sits on their board of directors?
I don't know the name.
Guarantee not one Black person sits on that board of directors.
But even if they did, would it matter? Like, here's the thing. Like, that's the thing for me. Because somebody that sits on that,
matter?
Because anybody that sits on that board today, right now, if he's sitting on that board right now, he or she, that means that they fully assimilated into corporate America, corporate world, right? Because we have a world economy now. So the world, they've already fully assimilated into that. Those are the same Black people, like the DA in Louisville who decided not to charge for Breonna Taylor's murders. That guy, that fully assimilated guy. That's what that looks like. He's the guy that would be on that board. So no, I don't trust that just because you got a black man sitting on a board or a black woman sitting on that board that they can act, first off, that they can actually get some shit done. We had a black president for 8 years. I feel like we worse off today than we were when we started. Like, no, just because we got somebody in the house don't mean that they're going to cook the chicken and it's going to taste good. I'm cool. I am cool. So no, that idea doesn't make sense to me. The idea would be we go and we have a conversation and we set up an actual plan. That's why I'm looking at Cube and I'm like, yo, bro, it makes sense. I listened to his plan. His plan makes a lot of sense. In my opinion, it's very logical. Go after the companies that you, like you said, benefited the most from slavery and are still kind of living off that money, right? And for that, he even did the numbers and the numbers work out right. I'm like, damn, yo, like, yeah, it actually makes sense. It makes a lot of sense. So to me, that's the viable plan. But to me, that doesn't work either because you're still punishing a company who was just doing what a company would do. To me, that's still not fixing the problems within our own government since you want to stay here. I get because every time I say to you, yo, if we're setting up our own community, we're gonna have to either set it up as a reservation or look at it like we're actually leaving the country, like we're actually, detaching ourselves from the country. Because if not, we're still on their land and still have to, abide by their rules and their laws. Because that's just
the crazy part about this whole thing. The Native Americans, this is their land. They should be more adamant about the distribution of what black people get versus
they should be more adamant about the distribution of what they get. They got 3 casinos and said, we good. I don't want to be that. I'm sorry. I don't want to be that. I'm cool. You got to give me more than a casino. You got to give me cash in my hand. And not only do you got to give me cash in my hand, you got to give me cash. And not only do you got to give me cash, you got to give me influence. You got to give me all the things necessary. You got to make sure that I'm fully educated. So it's not a manner of
shit I just said that we needed in the community.
No. See, you're looking at it like separate and then build. I'm saying we don't have to. Here's first off, and I said this, but you were still talking. My bad. We don't have to set up our own communities to set up our own schools and start the process of taking our children out of their curriculum. And again, I'll say this too. We tried that with a few different schools locally in Philadelphia, and those schools all were shut down for mysterious, reasons. The one that I drive by every day, Sister Claire Muhammad, the building's still there. They went after them because they were, associated with the Nation of Islam and the FOI, who has your ideas, the ideas of setting up our own separate communities, building a security force first. You sound like someone that grew up in that time, because those are their ideas. The only influential member of the original FOI that's still alive is Farrakhan. His youngest person that may take over behind him, depending upon how things work out, and I'm gonna pray for this man, would be Reza. I pray for that man. I pray that he can make it to that point. But your ideas aren't new. And your ideas those ideas have been tried. And that's where my problem lies. How many times are we going to try the same thing generation after generation after generation after generation? We tried it 1880s. We tried it 1890s. We tried it 1900s. We tried it 1910s. We tried it World War I. We tried it World War II. We tried Vietnam. Vietnam was even worse because Vietnam, they said, cool, we're actually going to allow y'all in our military fully on. All the way in. We got y'all. Thank you for everything you've done. And then what did they do? They went ahead and set up battalions of all black people, of all black men, and sent them over there to be fucking slaughtered. No, bro. No. How many times do you have to show me your face before I believe that it's you? Like for real, like that's all. That's where I'm at now. Maybe I'm just fed up and tired,
So
and maybe you look at it like we're dealing with the different
out of the 50 states. Out of the 50 states, which state has a prosperous 100% owned plot of land that is segregated away from bullshit and is just a community of black people?
None. Because the only place that has a separate plot of land that is considered separate from the United States government on United States government land are Indian reservations and Indian owned casinos. That's it.
Oh, brother Kanye owns a nice bit of chunk of acres out in Wyoming. He owns a ranch and some more shit.
And guess what? He owns the ranch. He don't have a police force. None of those things. And even if he did, right? He'd also have to have a fire department, because fire department they're even pettier than what we give them credit for. There are people in white communities who couldn't afford to pay for whatever the fee was, and when the house caught fire, they let the bitch burn to the ground. So no, bro, no. The United States government is fucked up, and until we decide that we're going to set it up and I'm cool with doing it peacefully. I'm cool with doing it. I'm cool with going to the government and saying, yo, listen, this land over here that y'all not using, nobody owns it. We're going to go ahead and we're going, how much do y'all want for that land? And we go directly to the government. We ask them that. And they give us a price.
I just said that's what LeBron James and all of
them. And they give us a price. But in that same discussion of actually taking and annexing that land, we're discussing and negotiating annexing from the U.S. government and all of the things that we actually benefit from the government from, and the things that we don't like about the U.S. government. That's the only way. That's the only way. We have to peacefully.
Literally the same thing I just said.
No, I'm saying that I'm
segregate away from the United States, but we're doing it on American soil.
Now, but we have to do it. But again, that's something that would have to be negotiated during the initial purchase. We're not going to have that conversation after we buy the land, because if that's not part of the buyer's decree, then I don't want it. Because I don't want the basically to say, cool, we're going to build up this whole nother town, this whole nother, I don't want y'all to have the excuse. I want, if y'all do it again, it's an act of war. That's what I want. I want the ability to say, yo, that's an act of war. That's a war crime. That's a genocide. Because technically that was a genocide that they allowed to happen, that the government allowed to happen and assisted in. So no, I can't. Shit, they did it in my own city. My own city decided, it was people in my own city that decided, yo, we want to move. We want to be separate from y'all peacefully. They weren't violent or anything of any of those sorts at all. Hell, I could tell you this right now. The encampment that's in Roxborough right now, that was on the Parkway, I guarantee you, if it wasn't mostly white men, white people, white women that was actually down there, then I guarantee you they would have tried to use force to move them. Because that's what my local city in my lifetime. So that's the other thing. I got examples in my lifetime. So I'm dealing with those same folk. And at that point in time, we had a black mayor who made that call. Bomb them. They dropped a bomb on a city block. Women, children, everybody. Get out the best way you can. They didn't have guns. They weren't firing on the cops. No, bro. We're dealing with the same people. Again, how many times do you have to show me your face before I believe it's you? Those same people raised these people that you're trying to have a conversation with.
I'm not trying to have a conversation. I'm trying to take the money and say,
the only way we're going to get the money is if we have a conversation. Again, bro, they not like you and me. They not going to say we owe you when we walk up to you. Here go your money. They not.
I don't care about the means. I care about the results.
And I'm listen. I care about the results. I really do.
I don't
But
care. You don't have to acknowledge. You don't have to acknowledge that you did us wrong. We see that you did
no,
us
all right,
wrong.
cool. I'm
Cut
saying
the
the
check.
the
Get
only
some
way
of
that
these
they'll come
people
to
out
us,
of these boards. Start putting black people. Yeah, it's like the Spike Lee movie. Do the right thing. I'm not buying no more fucking Sal's Pizza until I get some motherfucking black people on this motherfucking wall. And that's what it is. That's what we need in corporate America. I need some more black people on these walls, and I need run me my checks so we
I
can
need
go and do
more
what we
black
need to
people
do.
in ownership. I don't fuck being on a board. Hostile takeovers happen every day. Fuck, I care about a board for. No, I need black people in ownership positions.
You got to start somewhere, man.
And you're right. We're there already. Like, here's the thing: we've been there because of other laws that have been enacted over the years, right? You know, there's supposed to be a minimum amount of black people on. Well, and they don't even say black people. See, and this is why Cube said what he said, as far as like, no, we talking about black people, descendants of slaves, not just minorities, because that's the thing. That was how they got away with it. They were like, well, this guy's from the Ukraine, he's a minority, he's not technically, you know what I mean? So we could put him on the board and he checks off a box because he's a minority, you know, so that's what they did, because they want to keep black Americans down. They don't give a fuck if an African comes over here and makes it. They give two fucks about that. It's something about the ones that actually have a gripe with them, because we have a gripe with them. We have a bone to pick. We have a conversation that needs to be had that they don't want to have, and that's where the problem lies. So until in this idea that they'll just give us the money, again, we're gonna have to have a conversation around that.
You can't give somebody something that's owed to them.
That's how. Well, all right, cool. How else do you expect to accumulate these funds? How you gonna get these? Who gonna hit the button on the wire transfer?
Senate, House of Representatives, all those dickheads got to sit in a room and they need to discuss this thing out, and then they need to come to terms with it. I don't need no apology. Run me my money.
Right. I don't need an apology. The dollars will be enough.
You see what the problem is, yo. Here's the mentality I have, yo, and this is like, as crass as it's gonna sound, is like, you don't, when you get a prostitute, you're not paying her for her company. You paying her to leave after the transaction is done.
Agreed.
So that I don't. That's it. Like, at this point, y'all done hold it up enough. Y'all don't respect or care about black people. Give us what we're owed and we'll go away. That's it.
So you brought up prostitutes, right? Prostitutes have pimps. Pimps are enforcers. Those are the people that go after the Johns and say, yo, bro, you owe my woman money. And either you're going to give it to her or I'm going to break your legs. Like, I don't like, a conversation was had when they're not willing to pay, which they've proven that they're not. A conversation was had, a threat was made, whether it was actually acted upon or not, doesn't matter, because ultimately she got her money. So I feel you on the end result of she got her money. And I'm fine with that if we're going to get our money. I don't care how we get it. I don't care how we get it. I'm just acknowledging the fact that somebody going to have to say something. Because right now, we're not saying nothing. Right now, I can't trust that they're going to sit in a room and do it. I can't trust that. I can't trust that they'll sit in a room without being forced to and have a conversation around the idea of black people and reparations. They've had that conversation before. They had that conversation while in situations where we thought these people were our allies. They had this conversation with, you know, what, Clinton was in office. They had a conversation about,
We know these people are not, yo, it's a simple, like, you see a white person in the hood in a nice suit, fancy car, and he pulling up on a well-known drug block. He not going out there to fucking shake hands and kiss babies. He going over there to do a transaction. So run the transaction. That's it. All this other. So see, I'm more optimistic about what's going on, because of the fact that if you if we make the attempt this time with everything that's going on, with all the technology and everything that's swirling around us, if we actually set up our own Black Wall Street again and the bullshit happens again, we have just cause. And now the whole world can, back in when that shit happened, there's still countries that believe that shit was a myth. There's other places that still don't believe that this shit really exists. So now, if we can do it again and be magical, majestic, and dope ass Black people like we are, and put the best of the best in a society and start to get the best of the best out of our people, start to keep our money in our community, start to show our worth. When they come and they try that shit again, yet and still, like I said, you have people who are already tuned up, ready to die for this shit. We have enough. We have enough. And then we have that 20% allies of white folks who ain't,
10%, at least 50% of them are probably ready to die for it too. I give you that.
There you go. Chappelle said it best. Rat-a-tat, tat, tat, tat. So there you go. We have enough that if we get the proper resources, we can sustain a healthy.
Right. So we can end it here because I just want to make sure where we disagree. So where we disagree is you're willing to give them one more try.
Give them shit. Give me my money and let's do
what we got to do. When I say one more try, meaning that you're willing to say, you're willing to put your life on the line of let's build it again. Because this time it'll be on the world stage if they decide that they want to, come and burn it down. And they'll be then criminalized by the world. And the world will see it. Cool. I'm like, you showed me your face for the last 10 years. I don't even got to go back that far. The last 10, you showed me what you look like. I don't trust it. Now, what I'll say is this. I'll jump on board with your plan.
Nah, get the fuck out.
I'm literally one white man.
Take your slice of the pie, get the fuck out.
No, seriously, listen.
We don't need you.
Listen.
You're a pessimistic motherfucker, man. Get the fuck out.
This ain't about being pessimistic. I'm just telling you. I'm literally one white man at Target not handing me my money, not handing me my change. And he, like one white cashier, not handing me my change, but he puts it on the counter away from blowing all that shit up. That's it for me. Like I don't have it no more. I'm way too connected to my ancestors that have lost their lives. Because here's the thing. One thing, and this is why I want you to watch the last two episodes of Lovecraft before you watch the next one tomorrow, the last season finale tomorrow. I am the embodiment of my ancestors' hope. Period. So that connection means that I'm willing to kind of like, not even kind of, I'm willing to go a little bit further than they did. And they were chopped off at the knees before they even had a chance to run. So no,
when we start the Wakanda, whatever they want to call it in America, then you front line. If you decide to say,
oh, absolutely, I'm head of security forces all day.
Then that's your thing.
All day, because first off, I don't believe that we can have a leader that ain't ready to die for it, let alone security. Like, nah, we can't have another Malcolm or Martin without that motherfucker knowing ahead of time that he might be a martyr. Need him to know that. Like you said, Breonna, George, they ain't have a choice. They became martyrs without making that decision. If somebody's going to lead this movement, they're going to have to make the decision that they're willing to die for this, period. There will be no other way to have that conversation. And I guess I'm losing the audience because Jackie's yawning in the background and whatever. Yo, listen, man, we had a great season. This conversation actually makes me want to have another show next week, but it's up to you. We'll talk about it. But if not, this is the season finale. of season 2. We're going to be discussing some fun things for the rest of the off season and for next season. Make sure y'all check us out. The audio versions of the first 10 weeks are already up on all the streaming platforms. The video versions are all on YouTube, and yeah, so that's it. Make sure y'all check out All the Smoke podcast, streaming on all major platforms as well, wherever you listen to your podcast. And what else? Shout out to the World Is Yours radio show, airing every Thursday. And shout out to Facebook for not shutting them down last week because they wanted to. I know they did. But that was nothing but grandma. That was nothing but grandma, bro. Nothing but grandma. You got anything else, bro? That's it. And shout out to SheEssentials who brought us on today. Make sure y'all check them out. They have like the best skincare that I've had ever, in my opinion. It's all handmade. They also make jewelry and stuff like that. Make sure y'all check them out at SheEssentials with SheEssentials with an S at the end .shop SHOP. We'll have all that information on the page. It'll be in an announcement on the group page and on our page. Any issues or anything like that, just give me a call, shoot me a text. I know y'all still got my phone number from last episode. All right, that's it. 1. Pray for me and I pray